We made it. Thank you for your patience today. Getting started on the first LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live. This is also posted at LinkedIn, so my apologies for getting started late. Anyway, and we relax and bring present. Ain't no technology keeping us from here. Welcome to Spend Class. You've probably tuned in because you have made a little money, anticipate making a little money, or if you're like many who find me, you've already made the money, lost the money, and now you're ready to make it again and you don't want to make the same mistakes. So I have designed this class specifically for those of you who are looking to make better decisions with your money. What does that look like? What does it mean to make good choices? And how do you put your money to work for you in a way that serves your life? So since this is our first live stream, we're going to talk a little bit about the details. So if you're finding me later in the game, you might already know this information, but this is the first time I'm sharing it right now. So how this class was formed is I have constant influx of people who have created some cash. They've had some money and often lost it. I had a little time working with athletes, and we'll get into those stories. And what I discovered through careful manipulation of what I understand about my life and how I serve and what are my best roles, I found that where I help you, and this is how you know if this session, first let's talk about if this channel is for you. You know this channel is for you if you care about making good decisions, but you're not exactly sure what a good decision means. If you want to be empowered by your money, if you've created a little cash for yourself, a little bit of financial flow, and you want to make sure you're optimizing the life that you're getting out of that money. And if you want a general guide, someone to help guide you, direct you on what it's like for you to live your best life with money. What this channel is not. This is not your mom telling you what you should do. This is not a matrix story of do this, do this, do this. Not that there's something wrong. Slow and steady does win the race. My question is, who had more fun? And in my opinion, the hare had a little more fun. So, like maybe the hare didn't quite cross the finish line first, but the hare crossed the finish line, and the hare had a fun, exciting, adventurous variety journey along the way. Or you can totally get there and win as a tortoise, and you can guarantee that win if you do that nice, slow and steady, and that's okay too. But this is not for those who are all about the slow and steady and tell me traditional. There are so many channels available in the world that can tell you all about the traditional ways and do it this way. And there's a lot of great advice out there. And I recommend that some portion of the life that you're living does get assigned to those decisions, those intentional, slow and steady choices. It doesn't mean it has to be your only plan, but have that. It gives you a nest egg to fall back on if your big visions and dreams don't work. It gives you a sense within us when we have a little financial stability or like a cushion that we're sitting on, we can take bigger leaps. So take your time, take whatever's going on in your life and set aside some portion of it for those things that other people can help you learn, such as savings, investing, stocks, bonds, investing in real estate, and even so there are different components of what investing even means. I'm here to talk to you for sure about some of those things that you might want to steer from or go toward as you're in different levels of your journey. So as we get through each week, I'll have different lessons on how to be a good steward, and we'll make sure you understand based on where you are, because that answer changes. If you're making your first 6 figures, that's a different conversation than if you're making 100,000 to $1 million. And then that's a bigger conversation if you're $1 million to 5 and 5 to 10. And where you are in that journey makes a big difference. And I've had the benefit of working with many people of multiple levels of success, up to the billions, yes, and to be able to get involved in how their lives work, that's given me a lot of insight. And so I'm just here to share it, not how to save, not how to invest, but how to spend your money and how to spend it well. And so here you're not going to get any judgment that you shouldn't have your Starbucks. Honey, if you think that waitress at the Starbucks is cute, go get your coffee and enjoy your morning. And who cares if it's now like $7 or $8 in most cities. I'm coming to you live from Miami, so it's kind of everything's a lot here. So if you are interested in spending well, using your money in a way that serves your life, then you've tuned into the right channel. And I thank you for joining me and coming and being part of this journey. Like, share, do all those things that YouTube asks us to do so that your friends can know this too. And I want to spend the first part of today just sharing what I expect to be offering you in this conversation and what you can expect from me. And also to set a precedent of what we will cover, what this class will be like and what it won't be like, which we've started already. And then the second half, I'm going to spend just sharing with you. So if you're already kind of a member, you've watched this video somewhere before, and you're just tuning into this first initial live video, you can fast forward to, I'm going to attempt to say the halfway mark. And then I'll get into the lessons of today, which is it time to buy a luxury item? So we'll get started on that about halfway. So I want to spend just a couple of minutes because it's our first time together in this way. Let me tell you who I am and what we can do together and why I'm here in this time, in this moment, to offer and provide this for you. And that is, my name is Dr. Crystal. I have over 2 decades, and we'll just leave it at that, in the industry. Yes, I know I look so young for my age. Yes, and I plan to keep it that way, honey. I have tapped into a formula and I'm aging backwards. Reach out to me sometime for that. But that's part of my spending well strategy. I do spend the money on skincare. And so if you're loving it, if you think, like, this is me raw face, I literally put lipstick on, nothing else today for you guys. I've been on a mind-blowing call with something that's probably $1 billion deal that I get to be a part of all morning. So here we are. It just kind of happened. That's how my day started. And then I paused that conversation, sent some people off to get to know each other, to come to teach you. And that's because commitments matter. And I said I would be here. I'm here. And that's the first piece of integrity that I want you to pick up. If you get anything from me, I'm going to mess it up sometimes because I'm human and I'm a scattered human. Sometimes it happens. But I'm very committed to keep to my, whatever I commit. If I say it, I want to be it. And if I can't be it, then I'm going to do everything I can to make it up. So today I got to dismiss myself from a potentially billions of dollars of conversation to be here with you. It didn't kill the deal. Don't worry. I would have definitely postponed this inaugural class where I'm probably going to spend most of it by myself. But I know eventually you're going to come back. You're going to see this. And so I want to give you a chance to know who I am. Integrity matters to me, but integrity is not my highest value. Freedom is. And I recognized that when I was in a situation feeling a little nervous because maybe I was doing something I wasn't exactly supposed to do by matrix standards. But my opinion of what it was there's nothing wrong with the situation. It's just your rules are different than mine. And, but I get nervous. I don't like to be in trouble. I don't like to do bad things or be at risk of getting in trouble. No one would know that about me, by the way, because I'm a big risk taker. But I hate the idea of being in trouble. It feels awful. So I was kind of doing that. I realized I started to run like a story in my mind, like, well, what will I say? And how will I get out of it? And This is a problem of an overthinker, not the topic of today. And I realized in that moment that integrity, you can't claim that integrity is your highest value. You are looking for the best lie to keep yourself out of that person's version of trouble right now. So then I realized freedom is my highest value. And so I want you to understand that I have sacrificed a lot in my life for freedom. So much so that I've been all the way to the bottom of the barrel of freedom where I'm completely free, meaning free from money, free from friends, I was just separate and isolated from my entire everything, but I was free to do anything I wanted. And guess what? I had no energy to do any of it from that space. So freedom is my highest value, but no matter what is your highest value, everything has to come together and sing in harmony. So yes, integrity is really high for me. If it threatens my freedom, would I be willing to to compromise that? My assessment of myself, at least in that previous moment, was yes. Now I've tasted all of the freedom, and sometimes it's like, would I really? And so, but luckily I don't like to do very many things that are considered bad. So I'm lucky on that. So I am your girl next door, good girl, likes to make everybody happy, meets your raging lunatic, angry lady once in a while. That's very uncommon, actually, that part of me. But she's in there. I am definitely a spoiled brat energy. I like to have what I want. I expect the world to deliver what I want and choose for myself. And I identify as a 7-year-old billionaire princess philanthropist. And I know some of you are like, what? 7? Because I want to always remind myself to never let go of childlike wonder. It's important to grab hold of wonder and possibility and life and not knowing sometimes, and just be 7 and let imagination be real. And so I want to always keep myself in tune with that part of being that inner child. Billionaire, because I truly believe that I have big things that I can create in the world. And that identity as a billionaire means access. It's not about that number, really. That's an identity that we've attached to a number of all things are possible, like a millionaire used to be when maybe our grandparents were young. And it's the projects I see and that I've built on paper that are ready to be initiated. So the billionaire is the part of me who's enterprising and creating amazing things to make the world just as cushiony and awesome and wonderful for everyone as possible in the middle of all the chaos that we have as well. And to not eliminate the chaos, but to make it a little more bearable and to make everyone feel a little more loved in the middle of it and supported. Princess, because listen, you all can keep your queendoms with the decision making. No one can touch you. You get up dressed for everyone else for the day. Everything you're doing is under scrutiny. Go ahead and keep that queen, sister. I am a princess. I identify as a princess. I want everything to cater to me. I love to be served. I'm a big service person with my life. I feel like I live my life in service to others. And on the tangible, I love to be served. Like, forget about buying me things, send me breakfast in bed. Or, I just love, it makes me feel so loved and held and supported when I'm served. And I was like, oh, that's like a princess is always in service. So first of all things she needs is brought to her in service to her needs. And I love that about the princess. Kings and queens will make powerful, big decisions for her. So like, oh, we want to save our daughter. Okay, so like you have the power over the people who are over power of the nation. So like there's a strong power there, but without a responsibility that means like, you don't have to make the ultimate decision. You're just the inspiration behind that power. And I see myself as someone who's a lot of times the inspiration behind the power. I don't necessarily need to be the one out front. I am the inspiration behind the power. And I love that role. I love playing that. I love watching people shine. And I love teaching, obviously, but there's so much more. And then the philanthropist, because I want it to be clear and these are program codes that I identify and speak to myself because I identify as someone who will do good with, right? So whatever I have, not even just money, will do good with my time, will do good with my energy, will do good with my heart, will do good with my words. Sometimes that one's harder for me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be real on this channel because I don't know how else to be. And I put you guys right in the middle of my Wednesday afternoon. So you're just gonna get wherever I am in that time. So take it or leave it. You're welcome to leave it, but I hope you stay and I hope you can connect on some level and be inspired. But whatever it is that I am using in my life, how can I do it more in this powerful way? And I want to be always reminded that the reason I'm doing all of it is so that I can affect the world in the ways that my 7-year-old heart wanted to affect the world, who came from love, kindness, compassion, just a general sense of compersion, even to want good for everyone, regardless of what's going on for me. So that's a little bit about me. If you want to know who's teaching you about spin class, I'm not trying, after all of that, I'm not trying to be here to take any freedoms from you. I want to help you use your money well. That's it. That's what this class is about. I spent 20 some years in an actual classroom as a professor, meanwhile being an entrepreneur. And I was feeling low. And this is how we got here. And then we'll get into today's lesson. I was feeling rather low, just like, I'm doing all these things, but none of it feels meaningful. And I realized that I had retired from professorship and I missed the classroom. I'm a teacher. I can't not teach. I feel like I have so much inside of me. It boils sometimes and I have to share it because I'm like, this could make people's lives so much easier or so much more in flow or so much better. And it hurts when I hold it in for too long. It is, I guess, if there's any sense of like natural order of flow, I have to be speaking. And it's interesting because I can get really shy sometimes, but not on camera and not in a class. So I'm here because I need a classroom, and I hope you're here because you need someone who cares and knows and has complete love and compersion for you to do well in whatever it means. I don't need you to say, I did it. I don't need it to be like I said, but if I can inspire you to one more good decision this week, then it was worth our time together. And we're going to keep it always at the 30 minutes, which I should definitely check. We got just enough time to do today's lesson that I wanted to keep in that 10-minute range. So today, how do I know if I'm buying well when I'm buying luxury goods? And how do I know if it's even time for me to buy luxury goods? So spend class, number one. Welcome to Spend Class. We're going to talk about how to know if it's time for you to buy luxury goods, what luxury goods might look like, and what kind of, like, where to start. How do you get started? What do you do? What does it mean to buy luxury goods anyway? So a luxury good is an item that is not from a necessity. I'm going to say the obvious first because sometimes that's what matters. It's like, obviously you need electricity, you need a vehicle, right? A vehicle, depending on the country you're in, might be a luxury good, but for most people in the US, having a vehicle isn't really a luxury good. It's a necessity to get around. But as soon as you go from a standard vehicle to high-end upgrades, certain brands, higher quality, now we're adding a luxury component. So we could be talking about luxury from that place. So a lot of times we think of luxury, we think of added, more cush, more. But what I want you to understand is luxury items, it actually means like the market. There's a marketplace. This is the economist in me. There's a marketplace where goods and services are traded, and luxury items exist in the sense that they are exclusive. They're usually well crafted. They often are tied to some origin or some story that has been built or created. The exclusivity has a lot to do with it. And so let's talk about the difference between like what people call luxury brands versus true luxury items when you're talking about spending your money. Now, if you just want to spend your money and get something that you love and spend well, great. Go do it. Buy, use convenience, but understand that you're going to get less of those things if you just go throw your money at it versus being intentional. So let's give the example. I want to take you through this process of a luxury good using an example of watch, because a watch has such power to be all of the things. So it's a good analogy for me to take you through. And I happen to know a little bit about this, just a tiny bit about this market that I can use this analogy. So when you're talking about a luxury good, first of all, this means that how do you know you're ready for a luxury good? You have luxury money. If you are still looking for how you're going to pay your rent this month, then you're not ready to buy a luxury good, right? You're still in a cash sort of a tight cash flow. If you're looking at your month, most people do their spending on a monthly basis conceptually. So we're used to that month turning over and the new thing starts. Most billing happens monthly, some annually, but most things happen on a monthly basis for many people. As you enter higher levels of wealth, you kind of look at it more on an annual basis, but someone's still looking at your month for you. So monthly basis, let's say that you're just making it. So you have an income source. If you're an entrepreneur, sometimes you don't know. If you have a regular job or a steady paycheck, then maybe you know exactly. And so what you're finding is that over time, you're pretty much coming up even. So what your income is, you're using. Well, there are plenty of strategies that you can use to help tighten that up and get you more on point. In fact, I have a whole course dedicated just helping you have a great experience with money. And the first step is just looking at where your money goes and deciding, is this a good use of my money? So if you're really on the tight end of, I don't have any money left at the end of the month, you're not ready. You're just not ready to buy a luxury item, and that's okay. And there's going to be a time for you. So keep listening up or save this and come back to it. So if you just don't have any extra, this isn't investment season, right? Luxury goods, you cannot depend on the timeline to be fast. So this is the difference between, for example, Walmart and McDonald's, who are like lots of customers, and the Rolex dealership, right? So you could go to Walmart and buy a watch for what? I don't know. I don't like Walmart, so I don't go. But $20? So you can go there, you can buy this watch for $20, maybe even 10, I don't know, but it'll function, give you the time, do the things. And there might be 20 people that day who come and buy that watch. When I was in Colombia, I think you get it for like the equivalent of $5, and maybe hundreds of people bought watches a day. I don't know. So when I walked into the Rolex dealer with a friend who was ready to buy a luxury item, we didn't find so many people in the room. In fact, the room is limited how many can come in at once, because the agents need to be able to serve with full attention. Every customer in the room has someone with them. So there's a big difference in the buying experience. So if you are ready to buy a luxury good, meaning ready to walk into that Rolex dealer, for example, there are many, many luxury items, and we're talking about that can be used as assets. So here's the second part. So number one, am I ready? I mean, do I have extra that could be designated toward a longer term investment, right? So it's not exactly an investment. You're spending your money. It's a luxury good that you have. You can even wear it. Insure yourself, please. Please do not wear a high-end luxury watch and not be insured, and be aware of, like, it's not appropriate to be everywhere with that watch. So, do I want to put $40,000 on my wrist? Okay, so first of all, is it insured? Are you going to be in the right environment for it, right? So there's a lot of factors that we're not talking about here that I just want to point out, like, hey, remember to look at that. But when you are choosing, number one, okay, yeah, I have some extra cash flow. That's the first, okay, I have some extra cash. I could put it towards something like that. Number two, is this an asset worthy purchase? Meaning, so a watch at Walmart, you buy it, you're never getting the money. Like, it's a cheap little watch. You're not. If you buy a Rolex and you do well and treat it well, then your value of that watch, the day you buy it, if you buy it in the store, we're not talking about aftermarket either. Again, that's another whole channel, and there are people who dedicate their lives to specifically watch trading. But you take this idea and say, okay, I have this asset that when I buy it at the store, and that's a whole process to get to it. But let's say you buy the watch, and you can wear it, you can use it, it's insured, you've protected it. And on the market, it has historically shown to increase in value. So that might be a time where you could, okay, I had 40,000, 20,000, maybe if you're just getting started at $20,000 to put in an asset investment somewhere. And it just so happens I'd like to have a nice watch, and I'm a salesperson. It would help me close deals, whatever your story, whatever your reason. Because guess what? Your reason is your reason, and you don't have to explain it to anyone. And I'm going to say that again because someone listening really needed that. Your reason is your reason. And you do not need to explain your reason for wanting something to anyone. You get to have a reason. You just get to want it, period. And when you get to that point and you want this watch for whatever reason you want to do that, then you can still be smart about the way you go. So you can go on the market, you can say, whoa, I have $20,000. I got me a Rolex today. Well, you're probably paying top dollar for that. Your chances of getting investment value of it, pretty low. So if you're ready to buy a luxury item like a Rolex, rather than trying to go to the market, unless you just happen to find some way to get a deal, sometimes that happens. Again, other people can teach you that. But the best way is to approach, how do I get this so I'm ensuring my highest level of value? So for example, right now, buying a Rolex in the store, immediately it has more value, but you can't sell it for a year. So there's a time lapse before you can make that money. So that's why I say don't have your cash flow tight and be wearing $20,000 on your wrist and you can't pay your rent. That's silly. Like, let's just be realistic. We can talk about all the love and fairies we want, and I love that stuff, but at the end of the day, fairies aren't paying the rent. You got to figure that out. And you can be smart with your money and you can do all the manifesting you want, but it's the decisions we make that determine if things are okay. So you're looking at your Rolex, you have the cash, you put it on your wrist, you bought smart, whatever that means in each industry, right? Because the same thing could be said for any high-end luxury item that you're considering buying. Do you have the extra cash flow for it so that it doesn't put you in a sticky situation? Can you buy it in a way that makes it an asset, right? So sometimes you're just going to spend your money. Like, hey, I'm going for a week on a yacht. I spent the money, gone. I didn't buy an asset. You're allowed to do that. If you have that money, you can do that. The question is, have you looked at your whole life and decided that that's the best use of those funds? Or is there something else you want to create in the world or be, or have an experience you want to have that those funds could have created more all over value for you? And again, no one can say that but you. I do teach in the Transform Your Money experience how to kind of discern and get to what that is. But really, that's something that is just for you to know. And so number one, do you have the extra cash for it? Number two, without creating any hiccups, like the opportunity cost, if you've got a higher opportunity somewhere else, it might not be the best use of your money, even if you do have plenty of cash. So some of you have lots of cash, but lots of opportunity. Is a Rolex the highest return on investment right now? But let's say you just want the watch anyway. So then can I turn this decision to purchase something into an asset? So work that luxury market, get to know it, watch some stuff, become an expert in that part. Remember, this is spend class. So we get one little segment on luxury items. Some people dedicate their whole existences to one type of luxury item. So anything you want is out there, I promise. And probably for mostly free or some kind of subscription model. So you get on the, it's an asset. And then the third part of that is, what do I want or need from this asset? And make sure that your intentions match your overall picture. So, I want to have status and look cool. Okay, is that is your goal for all of this to have status and look cool? Oh, well, if I look cool, people will hire me more. Okay, well, so this is the third part. Are your assumptions playing out? So do you have that extra money, and is that the best opportunistic use of that? Can you buy it in some kind of way as an asset so that it's increasing in value? And my favorite is something that causes income, like a subscription type or a rent payment. Anything that gives you income back is a great asset investment. Asset, it has to give you income or appreciate. Otherwise, it's not an asset. And then, do you have the right thinking model for this to work? Like, is it going to give you the piece you wanted in the puzzle? So you look at, what were your expectations of having this? Is your premise true? So I'm by buying this watch and wearing it, I believe more people will hire me. Just go test it. So you're asking yourself, is this premise true? So it creates this overall strategy. So if you're looking to buy luxury goods and you're tired of people telling you what you shouldn't do, and you just want someone to say, like, okay, blah, 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 how do I just know if it's right for me? Then number one, do you have that cash available in a way that doesn't cause detriment to your life, either because you can't make your bills or another great opportunity is being missed? So opportunity cost, right? So is it a good idea? That's number one, right? Number two, can I buy it in an asset investment way so that having this luxury item also increases my overall wealth? And number three, am I coming from the right construct and mindset so that my intentions for having that luxury item are actually being met by having it? And then test it to see if it's working. So if your premise is true, not a problem, then it'll continue to show that value. If over time you notice, every time I make a decision like that on a watch, I end up losing money, honor that. And guess what? If you find out it's using up your value and it turns out that the kind of Rolex you like, you pretty much typically take a hit on it every 3 years of about $3,000. Let's just say you buy it, the kind you like doesn't really hold the value as strongly. This happens, it's a market, right? And say your trend is like, oh, the kind of watch I like doesn't really grow in value, but it costs me about $3,000 net, right? So you trade that Rolex in, get another, and about every 3 years, you're losing about $3,000, let's say. So then you say to yourself, is it worth to me $1,000 a year to have this Rolex that I love on my wrist, knowing that at least the asset holds some value? Because would I be buying myself a new $1,000 watch every year anyway? Right? So these are the types of things that you can think about. And, don't have a cycle of 12 Rolexes that are losing money. If you're going to have a bunch of them, at least, let's say 80% of them should be making asset value increasing your overall wealth. Those are some general rules of thumb. I hope these are helpful. I don't know what all the topics are going to be. They're going to be determined by two things. Number one, what's on my mind and heart and going on in my life, so that I can bring those things forward. And number two, the questions after you start to tune in, after we get some people joining and giving some comments and sending me messages and telling me what you like and don't like, then we'll make those adjustments as long as you say it nicely. I can pretty much be coerced into offering you lessons on anything you ask, or finding you an expert who can come and join me to do that if you ask nicely. If you want to complain, you can do that. I probably won't read it once I notice it's a complaint. So if you have a suggestion or feedback, I'm happy to hear your suggestions or feedback. Complaints, you can send them to complaints@goesnowhere.com, because this is a free service and I'm doing it from the love of my heart. So you don't get to complain, just tune out. All right, so that's just my boundary. Love you guys. And if you're tuning in and you've made it this far, we've got to be friends. So find me on Instagram at Dr. Crystal Gifford. Go over to, LinkedIn. I think I broadcast this from LinkedIn. Somehow we'll figure out that tech as we go. And let's say hi, reach out, create a conversation, and let's find out what deals you've got going on in your life, and keep learning, keep growing, and spending well. Thank you for joining me for Spend Class. I'll see you next time when we talk about Spend Class topic number 2, which I will announce when I post it. Love you guys. Thank you. Bye.